Welcome to the most unusual graduation and perhaps the most important graduation in the history of, well, history. There's never been a more scary time than what we're experiencing right now, but there's also never been a more exciting time. In the midst of so much pain and suffering comes the opportunity to make so much difference. Your character and integrity led you to pursue a healthcare profession, a profession that has always been crucial to society, but never more so than right now. And you wisely chose Drexel and CNHP to fulfill that ambition. Now that you're about to embark on the next step in your journey, I'd like to present you with one aspect of life that has made all the difference for me. And it all starts with my very first day at Drexel as a young, naive, eager-to-be electrical engineer. The problem was this. My first day was absolutely terrifying. I was so shy, so insecure, and I had no idea if I'd be able to succeed with all these other really smart EEs around me. You see, in high school, I was the kind of person who did not like going to parties because I wasn't sure what I was supposed to say, or what I was supposed to do, or what I was supposed to wear. And dances, forget about it. I was so concerned with what other people thought that it stopped me from doing so many things, except for studying and doing well academically. So anyway, back to my very first day at Drexel. I was in Kelly Hall, 8th floor, and I have no idea if they still do this today, but when I was there, the floors in Kelly Hall were segmented by gender. So here I am in Kelly, and my room is right off the elevator. And all these guys are hanging around by the elevator, and I'm nervous as hell. There's no way I'm going out there. I don't know any of them. What would I say? What would they think? And I hear them talking about where to go to eat. Now at that time, there were only 3 places on campus to eat. A cafeteria, a sit-down restaurant, and of course the Greek trucks. So, which would they choose? And in that moment, something happened to me that was so unusual. It literally changed my life and enabled the career that I would have. Here's what happened. All these guys, strangers, standing outside my room because my room happened to be next to the elevator, and they're discussing the best place to eat. And so uncharacteristic of me, I shout out to the group and I say, "We're going to the cafeteria because they have the best French fries there." Silence. I walk out of my room, and then all these guys follow me out of Kelly Hall, down 33rd Street, and into the cafeteria. And in the coming days and weeks, all these guys are asking me, what parties are we going to attend? What fraternity are we going to pledge? And it kept on going from there. I'd become the de facto leader of this group. Now here's the thing. Nothing physically had changed. It wasn't like I all of a sudden went from being 5'7" to 6'2", nor did my brain suddenly rewire into someone new. But what did change was my mindset. I couldn't make anyone like me or follow me, but I could choose the meaning that I gave to the situation. The old me would have given it the meaning of something like, this is a situation to be avoided. These guys probably won't like me. I'll probably say something stupid and look like a fool. I need to get by in this dorm for the next 3 trimesters. Don't rock the boat. Or I could give it a meaning of this. Here's an opportunity for me to try on a different mindset. Here's an opportunity for me to no longer see myself as shy and insecure. Here's an opportunity for me to be like a hermit crab and leave one shell behind for a new one that might fit me better. And that's exactly what I did. After Drexel, I had the opportunity to run hardware engineering for Unisys Corporation. And then I built a startup that helped usher in the world of open source software. That little business unit hit the market at the perfect time and made a ton of money. And then I ran a healthcare startup with some of the world's top physicians focused on helping address chronic illness. And after that, I co-founded a social mission company called Roar for Good to help address assaults against women. None of those things, absolutely none of them, would have been possible were it not for that incident in Kelly Hall. These days, I'm often asked to give guidance on how to excel in life and business. And of course, things like good interviewing and good negotiation, yeah, they make a difference, as does having access to a good network of connected people. And obviously having the right technical chops for whatever fields you're in is a must. But to me, what makes the biggest difference, what matters far more than any of those things, is mindset. And the good news is that mindset is something that you have complete control over, which I think is perfectly exemplified by George Danzig. George was a UC Berkeley doctoral candidate who one day showed up late for a graduate level stats class. And by the time he walked into the lecture hall, the homework assignments were already on the board. There were 2 of them. So George scribbled those 2 assignments into his notebook and he began working on them after class. Unfortunately, the problems were very hard for George, and it took him about 2 to 3 days to get the homework done. He stopped by his professor's office. His professor was Jerzy Neiman, and Jerzy was a very accomplished mathematician and statistician. So anyway, George goes into Neiman's office, and he wants to apologize to him for being late with the homework and ask if he could turn it in. And Neiman was working away at his desk, and he looks up at George and says, yeah, just put it on my desk. And of course, Professor Neiman's desk is covered with papers, and George just lays his paper on top, hoping it'll get reviewed. Anyway, about 2 months later, George is in his apartment, early morning, he's sound asleep, when someone is banging on his door. George drags himself out of bed, opens the door, and there's Professor Neiman. And Neiman starts shouting at him, "This homework you turned in, it wasn't homework. They were examples that I put on the board of the most challenging, unsolved problems in statistics, and you solved them." Needless to say, George passed his doctoral program with the highest of marks. But what makes this story so interesting is this. When George was asked, how did you go about tackling these unsolved problems that no one had been able to address before? George said, if I knew that they were unsolved problems and not simply homework, I probably would have given up on them very quickly. And that's why mindset makes such a huge difference. How you see the world and yourself will determine the quality of your life. And sometimes it takes a while to understand this, which I know from firsthand experience. Several years ago, I was walking near Rittenhouse Square with my business partner and friend Yasmin. She's the brains behind Roar for Good and is the one who started and runs the business. Anyway, Yasmin and I were on our way to, I think it was an award show. We're on our way to the show, walking by Rittenhouse, and we passed a couple, a man and a woman, off to the side of the road having a conversation. And we kept on walking. And then I realized that I was walking alone. Yasmin was no longer next to me. I turn around. Where did she go? She's back talking with the couple. So I go back there, and Yasmin's engaged in a conversation with a woman, and she's speaking with this woman as if this woman is one of her closest friends. Now, I had known Yasmin at this point in time for many years, and I knew all of her friends, and this woman was definitely not one of her close friends. And then, making matters even more confusing, Yasmin points at me and says to the woman, "Of course, you remember Anthony. The 3 of us would hang out together all the time." Now I was thoroughly confused. And then it hit me. Yasmin didn't know this woman at all. She was pretending to know this woman because she thought the woman was in a bad situation and needed help to get out of it. And sure enough, the woman left with us and thanked us profusely for rescuing her. Now here's the thing. When we first passed the couple, there was no yelling or struggling that was going on. The guy wasn't grabbing her or anything like that. And yet, Yasmin knew that something was wrong, and I was oblivious. That moment really opened my eyes into how much I was unaware of other people struggling and suffering, how blind I had been. And I realized that the more we can open our eyes to what we're not seeing and open our hearts to what we're not feeling, then the better we can address the crises we face regarding gender inequity, regarding healthcare inequity, regarding race inequity, regarding income inequity, regarding all the other challenges that we face. I'm reminded of this Confucius saying, "Real knowledge is to know the extent of one's ignorance." Each of you is a shining light in this difficult world. Each of you has chosen to focus your energies on not only seeing the pain in others, but helping to alleviate it. Your hearts and eyes are already open. You are exceptional gifts to the world. Now, as you enter this next phase of your life, you're going to face some hard challenges. Challenges that will test your wits. Challenges that will test your patience. And even challenges that will test your character. Your mindset will determine whether you see those challenges as unsolvable problems that aren't worth the time and the effort and the pain, or whether you see those challenges as homework problems that need to get done, even if you have to turn them in a little bit late. So, in addition to congratulating you on this momentous occasion, I also want to thank you. Thank you for choosing a career in the healthcare profession. Thank you for putting in all the hard work and I'm sure many sleepless nights to get to where you are right now. Thank you in advance for the continuing hard work and I'm sure many more sleepless nights to come. Thank you especially for allowing your inner character to shine forth in ways that will help many, many people. And most of all, thank you for being you. Your mindset will determine your path forward. And with the right mindset, the world is ready for your caring heart and your healing hands. While my first day at Drexel changed my life, your last day at Drexel is going to change the world. Congratulations, CNHP graduates. I'm so happy for you. Now go make your mark on the world.